That intro was way quicker than the last one we had. And look at that beautiful new logo up there.
Look at that.
I know, look at that. And then we got the other co-host over here, Beer Wrangler Drew.
What it do, baby
The
boo?
man, the myth, the legend. We got Ziggy taking care of us this week.
Hey, everybody.
And then we have two special guests from Oak Highlands Brewery, the founders, Brad and Derrin.
Hello.
So,
Everybody.
So I just want to start off collegiate pole vaulter. How many competitions did you win?
I won our conference my freshman year, and then
Wow.
I think placed third sophomore and junior year, and then had an ankle injury and didn't medal in my senior year in college.
Oh wow.
So really good.
No. I went to a really small school. They just needed athletes. So
Didn't you also play football, though?
I did play football.
That's not as cool as it being a collegiate pole vaulter,
It was
right?
kind of one of those deals where like, hey, we need points. Can you still do that? I said, no, I guess I'll try. So it was fun.
It's also, I always want to compete. I always have fun competing. I just
Yeah.
never did pole vaulting.
It's pretty crazy to run as fast as you can with a stick in your hand and then shove it in the ground and try to jump over stuff. It takes some craziness.
Is it better to be taller in that sport?
Fast and
Just
strong.
fast.
Yeah, fast
Just
and
fast.
strong.
So like I'm always, because there's a lot of give to the poles themselves.
Absolutely.
Did they ever snap?
Oh, I think I broke my career from 7th grade all the way through college, at least a dozen poles.
Oh wow. Like mid-air and
Yeah,
everything, like on the push-up.
From anywhere from being 2 feet off the ground to being 6 or 7 feet off the ground, and then when it breaks, you just go flying forward into the mats.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's
Well,
right.
lucky the mats are there.
Yeah, luckily. Actually, the worst thing that happens is if you don't get enough bend in the pole and it throws you backwards out. There's
Whoa.
there's no mats there, and that hurts really bad.
Yeah.
And that's happened too.
Oh
So
man.
I googled pole vaulting just to get like a recap of it, and they have a collection of like pole vaulting accidents.
Oh yeah, there's some bad
Funnies.
ones.
And there was the first two was those guys and a girl, unfortunately, running, put the pole down and it's just fly backwards.
Yep.
And I was down laughing. I'm sorry to laugh.
No.
It was hilarious.
Yeah, it can hurt, but no,
I could only
it
imagine.
was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Oh man, I bet. I don't even imagine.
Not as much fun as beer, but it was a lot of fun.
True. Speaking of beer, how long have you guys been open? About coming up on 3 years now?
Our 3-year will be in July.
July. Nice. Are you guys doing a little event for that? What's going on with
Oh, yeah.
the 3 year?
I believe it's July 15th is our the actual anniversary party. I believe that's right. Saturday. Last year we had about 35 beers on tap. This year we will probably have closer to 40, maybe more.
wow.
Yeah, there's big deal.
It's a lot of fun. We always do beers that you can get year round from us, but Derrin does a really good job of archiving beers. So we'll have some beers from I think we've got some 2016 beers in there as well.
Some 15s.
Some 15s, some 16s, 17s, and 18s, and then we'll do some one-off beers that you'll never see again, other than anniversary parties.
That's cool.
Things like that. So, yeah.
So we just opened up a beer.
The next kid.
Oh man.
Sorry, go ahead. Yes.
No, we just opened a beer and I didn't get the name of it.
Yeah,
That was Freaky Deaky.
Belgian Triple. This is one of the beers that Derrin and I made as homebrewers before we opened up the brewery.
All 5 of these actually we did.
Yeah, and this beer was voted
10%.
10% Belgian Triple, voted best of the Rockies in the Southwest at the United States Beer Tasting Championship. So basically that says they decided it was one of the top 6 triples in the United States.
Yeah, it's a
It's
good
won a
one.
few other awards for us. It's smooth, easy drinking for a 10% beer, which is pretty
Yeah.
dangerous.
Oh yeah.
Really nice.
This one that we had over at Taps and Caps. I think I did. I don't know if you had that one.
I didn't have it.
And
Pretty recently.
we do barrel aged versions of it as well. We have a white wine barrel aged version and a red wine barrel aged version. So
Which one
Really?
do you like better? Because I think I would like the red wine more.
yeah, I kind of go back and forth. I don't know. We rarely actually get to try them right next to each other because we separate them in seasons. Just they're about 6 months apart.
Yeah, and it's,
So we have the white wine barrel aged. It's barrel aging right now. It'll probably be released sometime in, I think, August or so.
okay.
Red wine we release somewhere around February or something like that. So
And it's funny, you talk to people and they say, oh man, I really, really like the red wine. I wish you had that during white wine season. And then during red wine season, people say, I really like the white wine. So
course.
there's definitely a line in the sand amongst the people who,
Yeah.
who prefer one over the other.
that's true.
Yeah.
I think they both sound like be delicious.
They are. I mean,
I think the red wine is a little better, personal opinion, but they're both really good. I mean,
I
it's
like the
kind
white
of
one.
yeah, it's kind of
Right.
Down the line again.
Driving the interest.
exactly right.
So what kind of flavors does each one impart?
You definitely get the fruit.
Yeah.
You definitely get a little bit more fruity nose to them. I mean, obviously with the triple that they're drinking right now, you're going to get that in the esters that are coming through as well.
But it's crazy. They're 3 different.
They really
beers.
are.
They have. I mean, they taste nothing alike.
Really?
Which
Just
is
with the white barrel age and the rest.
so the white barrel age comes across as a whole lot more dry,
Exactly.
a little bit more acidic, citrusy kind of notes from the white wine. The red wine comes as it's rounder, it's bigger. It's still dry, but not as dry as a white wine, and it's more oaky, I think. So
I see. I wouldn't even guess the oaky. That's interesting.
Yep.
That would
I
go really
have
well
to
with
swing
them.
by when it comes out and try it for myself.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So what's do you guys have a favorite style, or do you guys kind of rotate through different styles that you guys are currently enjoying more than the other?
I mean, personally, I like our seasonals. I mean, whenever our seasonals are out, I'm drinking them. Our seasonal that's out right now is Hypocrite Saison. It's my favorite beer we make. It's actually named after me, which is another fun story.
That's why it's your favorite. I get it now. It makes all sense.
I like saisons, so but you know, the day-to-day beer, if I'm going to have one, it's probably going to be Golden Mustache. It's just a nice, easy drinking beer.
Nice,
So,
nice.
Nice.
but yeah, so I'm more on the seasonals. I don't. DF Dub is Brad's beer. I mean, that's not one that we made it when we made it as homebrewers. That was that's his decision. It's not my style. I'm not a big wheat beer fan, but
So you're big. I'm guessing
Oh,
you're.
wow. It's up right there. I like the logo on it.
Yeah. So are you a big Dunkelweizen fan? I'm guessing.
So I'm just a big German beer fan.
Yeah.
Everything except for a Rausch beer. Don't like
that?
it. Rausch beer is a smoked
Smoked
beer.
No, it doesn't
Smoked
sound good at
malt,
all.
No, it's terrible. Everybody's got their own taste and palates. To me, it's terrible.
Keep it real. Keep it real.
Seriously, if I wanted to,
pepper beers too. We're both just.
I always say if I wanted to taste a brisket, I'll eat it. I don't want to drink it. That's what a Rausch beer tastes like to me. But that being said, our head brewer loves Rausch beer, so
Yeah.
it is what it is.
That doesn't sound
But
good.
so I'm a huge fan of wheats, and there were a lot of wheat beers being made when we opened our doors. But there's hardly any Dunkelweisens made anywhere.
There's still
in
very
Yeah,
few.
it's true. I mean, you see a lot of Hefeweizens, but not as many Dunkelweizens.
Right. So it's one of those beers that was very tricky to try to figure out the right recipe. It took us 4, 5, 6 iterations of this beer to get it right, and once we got it right, I think it's a very really good representation of the style, and it's a beer that I really enjoy drinking. But I really enjoy all of these beers that we make.
Yeah, sure.
There's not really a beer that we make that I don't enjoy. I agree with Derrin. Our seasonals are awesome, but I think it's because we only have them for 2-3 months at a time, and then they're gone, and then you're like, oh man, I missed it. I missed this beer.
Yeah.
Like our Oktoberfest, when that comes out in August, I will drink nothing but Oktoberfest. the entire month
What I
of
want to
August.
say is right after, excuse me, I was drinking Red Bull, so that's why I'm burping. So after we had the Pink Boot Society, it was my first time going to your brewery. 2 things. I love it that you're so close from where I live, like literally down the street.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
He did it just for you.
Yeah, exactly.
I know, I appreciate it. Second, I love the way the brewery feels. So for people who hasn't been to the brewery, it looks like it's in an industrial area. You walk in, you walk through the garage, and the bars to your left. There's little opening seatings to your right, restrooms, and then you have your brewery through glass, and you could also have a little hangout area there. But what I'm talking about is everybody feels like at home.
Right.
Everybody's relaxed. There's kids running around, and I thought it was just for that event, the Pink Boot Society, and I just like that feeling. But just talking to you guys today, you make that feeling all the time.
Right.
You make it feel a homey place to hang out.
Yeah,
It's a place.
and that's one thing we do here a lot is that how it's. I guess it's almost an unassuming location. You drive into the warehouse area and you have no clue to breweries there. When people walk in, they're like, wow, you see that huge Texas flag on the wall. That we think it's the biggest Texas flag in the state of Texas. I don't know, maybe not.
Maybe we got to measure it.
But we're unassuming people. We're you come up to the bar, you can do whatever you want to do in our facility. It's there you can go almost anywhere you want in there. You can literally sit down and have beer right next to the tanks. So that's part of the thing the feel that we just went for.
And I love it a lot. Drew, try this beer real quick. It is absolutely delicious.
I've had it before, but I will take some of
you
your
had
beer.
it before? Get on.
So continuing on that, what I would say is when you go to have beers with your friends, you don't want to walk into a place that makes you feel uncomfortable or sterile or
Yeah.
you know. You want to be in a place that you're comfortable, and that way you can have your conversations. You can do what you want to do, but you're not looking over your shoulder like, "Oh, am I doing this right?" Or
Right.
And the one thing we wanted to create was a place where everybody felt welcome, and there weren't. We do have warning signs everywhere for because there's kids, but
Yeah.
if you can't bring your children to places these days, you're shutting out a large portion of the
community.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
we always wanted to make it kid friendly within reason, and we make it dog friendly within reason. Lately, it's been parrot and we had a couple of people bringing parrots in on their shoulder like a pirate.
Yeah,
Pretty crazy.
Old Jack.
Okay.
He's pretty
Jack.
cool, and I mean, honestly, it's cool. The guy's a vet technician, and his owner is, and he brings him in. He literally just sits right here, and everyone wants to get a picture with Jack. He's a cool looking, just green parrot. So
That's a very interesting thing. No, the feel of the brewery is nice. They didn't mention they have a little chalkboard stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The kids could draw on there too, and that's also really nice. There's little nice touches here.
Yeah.
A bunch of games and stuff like that.
Yeah, we do a family night once a month. Tomorrow night is our monthly family night. We put a kids movie on. We have food trucks outside games. I make craft sodas.
So does beer, family friendly.
Yeah, I mean it's just I said this earlier when we were starting. The first one we did, there was 2 or 3 kids that when the parents were dragging them out of there, they were crying. And I thought, wow, that's the first time I've ever seen a child crying because they had to leave a brewery.
Right.
I mean, that was a pretty cool feeling. And
I mean, at the time too, like it wasn't really when breweries were opening, they weren't really kid friendly at all.
Yeah.
And it's become. I think we were the ones that actually changed that. It's been more of a family deal now, and I mean, kids are pretty much allowed in almost any brewery around. Whereas before, they weren't.
I mean, they may be allowed, but very few make it feel
That's true. Yeah.
like
yeah.
they should be
And
there.
that's the reality. Anytime you come to our brewery, you're likely going to see kids and you're going to see dogs. So.
And the funny thing for
if
me
you don't
is
like that, don't come.
Can't go. Yeah.
we have a couple negative reviews
Yeah.
online, and one of them is because we had kids there.
Yeah.
And the other one was because we were too crowded.
Well,
Oh, you know what? I'll
yeah.
take both of those.
Take
Yeah,
both of those,
that's
right?
negative. I'll take that.
Nothing about the beer, just about
Well,
the.
I don't know about too crowded. You guys were crowded for the Pink Blue Society,
Yep.
but you guys have moved pretty fast. So I don't know if it's the bartenders you had that day. You were working and helping out.
Yeah,
we both.
we
If
all-
we're there, we'll
yeah.
jump in if the lines get
Yeah.
long, and we generally have 2 or 3 bartenders. That's one thing that makes I hate seeing a long line. I hate seeing a line. I really do. I don't want to be that. I've been that person in a long line. I hate that. And so
and
if
we're
we're
pretty-
there, we jump in and we'll help.
And
Yeah,
if
that's a
that
big
doesn't
compliment
work,
to you guys.
and if that doesn't work with us behind the bar as well, we're pretty nimble. We have a back bar we can open up, and
Yeah.
when we have events where we have the parking lot blocked off, we'll put a couple beer stations outside.
Ah, nice.
So we
Pretty
do
smart.
have a big event coming up on May 19th, which is called White Rock Q. It's a barbecue competition that's put on by a company called White Rock Q,
Really?
and all of the proceeds benefit the Dallas Area Rape Crisis Center. There'll be about 2,000 tickets sold. I think they're already at over 1,000 sold.
I think they're closer to 1,500.
Closer to
Oh,
1,500.
wow.
So
if you
buy your
want-
tickets now.
Yeah, it's a
It's a
big
heck of a
outside
deal.
event. Same deal. I mean, it's kid friendly, of course. They actually set up like a tumble and cheer thing outside last year for it.
Nice.
Kids can do that, but it's
you
an
get-
awesome event.
There's nine or 10 barbecue teams, and you get samples of 4 or 5 different courses that they're making, and then beer, and then there's a band that plays, and it's just a heck of a lot of fun.
What- I'm sorry. When did you say that was again?
May 19th.
May 19th,
Starts
okay.
at 5 o'clock.
May 19th been working it, but they can't buy the tickets on your website?
Yeah, on Eventbrite. If you just look up White Rock Q, there it is.
Eventbrite. There we go.
Perfect.
So that place is we raised close to $30,000 last year.
They
Wow.
Donated
Really?
$30,000.
That is
for
awesome.
Dallas
That's
Area Rape Crisis
awesome.
Center.
That's
I mean, that's what this event is for. This will be the 3rd year for us to host it at our brewery. They used to host it in their backyard, and they came to us when we opened and said, our neighborhood folks right across 635 from us, and said, we've outgrown our space. We had 250 people show up.
Wow. I'm a big barbecue fan, so
And then
that
the first
sounds
year we
good
had-
stuff.
Perfect.
First year we did it, we had close to 1,000. Last year we had over 1,500, and this year we'll get to 2,000. So
Wow.
that's a lot of fun.
That's awesome, man.
A lot of fun.
That is awesome.
I would be there. I know me and Drew will go look getting some tickets tonight if they're still available.
Right?
Get them as fast as you can.
Yeah, everyone's
If
already
not-
bought them up.
If not, give us a call. We'll figure something out.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah. I feel like whenever, like, especially for, I love barbecue, but for barbecue competitions, everyone brings their best.
Oh, yeah.
So, you're getting to try all the really good stuff that everyone's trying to knock it out of the park.
100%, yeah.
So,
Yeah, they do. It's specific. They have it's ribs, brisket, and then I believe pork butt, and then they have what they call a jackpot item. So those people can actually have another item. So they actually judge those individual ones.
Really?
I actually was one of the judges last year. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
because you got some barbecue.
Well, I get that anyway. But
True.
I mean, when I,
That's what
This is our saison. It's a French saison, so it's different than a Belgian saison in that it's not going to be quite as tart. It's like if you've ever had a saison DuPont, it's going to be a little more sour.
Yeah.
This one's going to be a little rounder. It's going to have more of the spice come through, the bitter orange peel, the coriander, the grains of paradise.
I like that more.
A little bit more with the caramel color, amber color than you would get from a traditional Belgian saison. But the crazy thing about saison is that the style guidelines are about
Wide
that
open.
wide.
Really?
You can do whatever the heck you want.
Open to interpretation.
100%.
I mean, it's
That's
from
really solid.
Low alcohol to high alcohol to straw color all the way up to
You mind
dark.
if I get this
Really?
real quick? Yeah. I'm gonna get some from our engineer.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, this is
I
really
got
good.
maybe one that's colder if that one's not cold.
No, Ziggy, you want it colder?
So he says, pour it up. We'll see how it tastes.
So we'll go after this. This is the hypocrite, and after that I'll pour chump change, which is our imperial black saison. So
Ooh, okay.
it's a
Black
little bit
saison.
different, Yeah.
This beer we actually also barrel aged in this last year in red wine barrels, and it was kind of it was funny because it was kind of an afterthought. We just happened to have some barrels that were emptied, and decided to just go ahead and fill some. And actually, we just won a grand champion at U.S. Spiritation Championship with
Really?
barrel aged.
Congrats.
The red one.
Congratulations.
Found out last week. It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
So which one's this one again?
This is hypocrite. This is our
Hypocrite.
spring seasonal. It's just a nice, easy drinking saison.
It's
is-
better. I like it that it's not tart at all. I hate tart beer. I don't like tart candy. I don't like stuff
Okay.
like that. And this is something I could drink. Say something of like, I can't drink it.
Yeah.
I'm a very picky beer drinker.
Good.
Should be.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the funny thing about it is some people, you come to the brewery and you give them a taste of something and you're like, do you like it? Like, it's good. You can tell
You
me
like-
I don't like
you
it at all.
don't
I'm like, no,
like
just
it.
tell me you don't like it.
Yeah.
It's totally fine. We're gonna find something that you do like.
Yeah.
I guarantee, or we're not. And even if we don't, you're not gonna hurt my feelings. I mean,
Yeah.
My favorite is it's not bad.
Yeah.
No.
Ooh, it's different.
It's not.
I think I'm leading towards saying
And
it's not
always
bad.
It's always
Or-
the people that don't really drink beer too much that they got drugged there or whatever. You know?
Well,
It's like-
funny story. I know you guys are friends with Penny Colas. First time we had Penny Colas on was a year ago when we first started doing the podcast, and they were the first brewery to come on. Great people, Chad and Mike.
No, Chris.
Sorry, bad with names. I'm so fucking sorry. Chad, they that day they came to the podcast, they released Crush It,
okay.
and they're like brand new beers coming out today, and there's a lot. We were recording live at the time, and so they were promoting it, and we were promoting it, and they're like brand new beer, Crush It. How do you like it, Victor? I was like, it's not for me. It's not good.
It was. Yeah, so it's the. And I always tell people,
It's
he's from New York, so he's got that very straightforward kind of like tell it like it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
He knows what he likes, and he'll
okay.
stick by
That's
it.
right. That's
It's so. He was like,
I felt
you know,
bad though. I felt terrible.
I feel like it's how he
No,
phrased
though,
it.
it's your palate.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing is everyone's tastes are different, and just because I like something doesn't mean you like something, and doesn't make me right or you're wrong.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
I mean, the analogy that I give is it's like art. You know, everyone's got a different idea of what art is. For example, there was a golden toilet in, I think, the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, and I was there and I was looking at it, I was like, what in the, it's a room with a toilet and it's
Beautiful.
What in the hell? And,
It's
and the
absolutely
person next to me
beautiful.
was going, what a provocative statement.
Innovative.
And I'm like, what the hell is this? But we were both talking about art, so you know, the mission accomplished. And same
True.
with beer. Just because I like something and you don't doesn't make me right and you wrong.
Yeah.
Keep finding something. Keep trying new things.
Oh yeah.
It's always great for me to or Darren or anybody at the brewery to show somebody what a saison is or what a dunkelweizen is. I mean, a lot of folks like will get
Yeah,
what's the lightest thing you have, and we'll pour them a
that's all I was fixing to
dunkelweizen.
say. And they kind of just they look at it, it's a darker color, and they're like, wait a minute, no, I don't drink dark beers, but that's our really lightest beer, and that's the one that's almost that and all go to the two kind of our gateway beers.
Yeah.
So it's neat to see them come back and go, what was that beer with the banana that flavor? That was amazing. I'll have
Right.
another one of
Bananas
those.
is
Yeah. So that's one of the most rewarding parts about what we do is getting folks to maybe step outside of their comfort zones every now and again and find something new, and now they latch onto it, and they're buying crazy barrel-aged
Right.
10% beers that they would have never tried 2
They're
years
deep
ago.
in the rabbit hole now.
Well,
Yeah.
thanks to people like you guys who A, make great beers, and B, take the patience to talk to people. And that's why in this year process so far, everybody we've talked to outside the podcast and coming here, been super patient, super great. Even the Chad, when I said I didn't like it, I also left a side note saying I could see why people would like it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't for me. But they were super nice about it. And I come back a year later, still not a beer for me. But I did like their sit down or sit you down IPA.
Which has a funny story behind it.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, well, here it is, backstory.
Yeah, so Michael's brother
Brother.
is a cop, and he was on the show Cops. And
Really?
the
Oh,
speaking
nice.
part that they had was him talking to somebody, and he
He
basically
was
said,
resting.
resting him or just want to talk, and he basically said, you either sit down now or I will sit you down. And so that was
his tagline from then on.
Yep.
pretty funny. So the beer that I just poured is called Chump Change. It won a silver medal for us at World Beer Cup. It is an Imperial Black Saison, so it's going to be
Black Saison.
completely different than
So I mean, both saisons.
Yeah, but there,
I see the variability
licorice?
spoken.
Nope.
Right.
Nope, you're not going to get it. You're still going to get the coriander, grains of paradise, the bitter orange peel on the back. You're just going to get a little bit more roasty grains on the front. A little bit of
barrel
little
aged?
bit more. No, not barrel aged. We'll have the barrel
do.
aged in a minute.
Oh.
I have that too. So we're going to kind of run the gamut of our saisons here. But this one doesn't drink like the color it is, and that's one of the things that we like to,
Yeah, it's,
to show people.
You
is
think you're
that-
going to be drinking a porter or a stout, and then when you taste it, and it tastes nothing like a porter.
It's like
or a stout.
real bright compared to what you would think. Just,
Right.
Yeah.
just looking at the color.
on the back of your throat, it's nice and fruity, and you get for me on the back of my tongue, I really get the coriander and grains of paradise.
Yeah, I think I
With
like this one a little bit more.
roasty note to it as well.
I was going to ask you, well, where's the roasting note come from?
So it's just the grains. So the roastiness is in the color comes from dark roasted grains that we use as part of the grain bill. It's I think it's Crystal 60 and a little bit of Midnight Wheat and a little bit of what's that?
I think that's it.
Is that it?
Yeah, yeah. Or Black Prince.
Black Prince. Yeah. So yeah.
This is really good.
Thanks.
But out of the two so far we had, I like the Hypocrite more.
Perfect. Yeah. Awesome.
Smart man.
Well,
So are we gonna hear that
Did you
story about the
brew-
hypocrite?
Oh yeah.
did you brew the Hypocrite?
So
Yeah.
you want to tell us?
Yeah, yeah. It's. I mean, it's not too long, but it's kind of a good deal. So, I was always, when we were homebrewers, I was always one of the. I didn't like brewing with anything that was non-traditional, meaning any type of spices or basically the four ingredients that go in beer. So I started getting into saisons and trying saisons, and I decided I wanted to make one. So I told Brad that. Brad said, "No, wait a minute.
No.
You're the guy that doesn't want to put any spices or anything into any beers, whatever it is." And
He shot me down on a pumpkin beer.
yeah, well, okay, well, that is true.
No
He was
adjuncts.
like,
That
I don't
is
want to
true.
brew
No
a spice
adjuncts.
beer. All right, fine.
So finally we did it, and so he goes, "Well, aren't you the hypocrite?" And I said, "Well, there's the name of the beer before you even actually made it." So
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is the perfect name.
And then
Yeah.
he says it's the best beer we make. So yeah, it fits.
of course it is. It's named after me, Brad.
Well, yes, on that
The
note, it
best.
was the best beer we had so far. No, out of the two saisons, and I can't say I had a lot. The first saison I had was with a friend of the show, Chanel. She introduced me to the saison beer, and it was super tart. I don't like that.
Yep.
I don't like sour beers. I don't like.
And that's the difference when I was saying between a Belgian saison and a French saison. The Belgians are going to be a little bit more on the tart side, and the French are going to be more on the rounded, spicy side.
That's why I was excited when you said that. So that was my first saison I liked, and then this one is also really good, but just out of right next to each other, I like the Hypocrite more.
So we're going to do a third here in a second.
So the other interesting thing about that as well is that you're going to get one thing we do that's a little crazy, and there's really only one other brewery, probably local, that has that many yeast strains, is that we have 10 to 12 yeast strains that we use. Most people have 1 to 2, have a house strain,
Yeah.
maybe have a specialty strain. But these two saisons actually are 2 different yeast strains. So they're specifically, that yeast strain was made specifically to get that flavor, that profile you're getting out of it.
Oh, nice.
So the next beer I'm about to pour is our Chump Change, which was the black saison we just had, aged in Jack Daniel's barrels for about a year. We were lucky enough to be one of 4 breweries in the United States to get Jack Daniel's barrels. The crazy part about it is the other 3 are also here in Dallas. It was us, Lakewood, Community, and RAR. This is the first year they've ever given barrels directly from the distillery to breweries to use. It was kind of a try it.
With their name on the barrels.
Yeah,
right?
so,
Of course.
So
Of course.
you could get Jack Daniel's barrels, but you had to get them through a broker, and you don't know where they were before.
Yeah.
These were dumped on a Tuesday. We got them on a Thursday, filled the next day.
Oh, wow.
So it's very fresh, very crazy what this beer tastes like. Yeah, let's get it on. I hope you
get
enjoy it.
Can we get a splash for Ziggy?
Oh, hey, and whoever else, we got plenty. I brought a lot.
It smells
So
phenomenal.
versus like you see like a Jameson or like a Jack Daniel's. Is it different woods that they each use for their barrels that it will impart some sort of difference?
All whiskey barrels in the United States are American oak. Wine barrels will be French oak or American oak, but the whiskey barrels in the United States are American oak, and the difference is the
Thank you.
char. So
You mean how they burn the inside?
yeah, they burn the inside, and so you'll get the wine barrels have a medium they're toasted, but whiskey barrels are charred. They're burned. I mean, it's charcoal on the inside. And then the thing that makes Jack Daniel's different is that they then filter their whiskey through charcoal. So it's
Really?
it's a weird process, and this particular version of this beer, the nose is really big, very big whiskey nose, but you're not going to taste whiskey. I mean, compare when we pull out the bourbon barrel vanilla porter that was in Woodford and Witherspoon barrels, you'll actually taste more whiskey than you will in this beer.
Really?
It's neat how the way that those saison flavors meld.
You're
over
so right. Like you don't taste it at all.
it smells. We're
It
like,
smells
I'm
like
gonna
huge
get a huge whiskey burn
exactly.
here, but it doesn't taste anything like whiskey.
I think it's kind of delightful though. You get the smell of the whiskey, but it's really
That's-
enjoyable. I mean,
still
there's no
saying it.
bite to it. You would think like, oh, I'm about to take a shot of.
But isn't
Right.
it
Jack
disappointing? Because I
Daniels.
was expecting to bite and I wanted to bite.
Well, see, that's
Who
the
likes
thing,
the
is,
bite?
like,
Who
some
likes
people
the
like
bite?
that, some people don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what you mean.
Well, not. This be very clear. When everyone sees me take a shot, I always have a chaser because I'm not really good at taking shots.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, my friend.
But
Disappointed in you, Victor.
I mean, I have no shit in my game.
Pickleback, give me a pickleback.
I will always prefer sweet drinks over strong drinks or tart drinks. I will always prefer, like, if I'm gonna take a shot of whiskey, I'm gonna have me a Sprite or beer behind it, regardless, because I can't take them because I'm not good at it. But this is where I wanted a little hint of like whiskey in it. But it's not. It's super sweet.
We'll
It's
get
super
there.
delicious.
Yeah,
Super delicious.
and again, this is one of those beers
This is
that
really good.
it's deceptive. I mean, you think,
Oh my
okay,
God, yeah.
it's aged in a whiskey barrel. I'm used to those whiskey barrel stouts. I'm used to those big, bold.
No.
This still has. It's light still. It's
It's
still.
really drinkable for sure.
It's
Yeah.
11.4%. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
What?
Yeah.
It's
This-
11%.
I've always said I have a big respect whenever you can have that high of an
11.4. Oh my
ABV.
God.
You have the high of an ABV and still kind of mask it. Like it's still like you don't get a bite to it.
Yeah.
Like when you can hide it within like the
That's,
flavors and stuff.
It's the same with the
Yeah,
Freaky
with
Deaky.
especially with the Freaky
I mean, you don't get it at all.
Yeah.
And
It's
that
pretty
was
amazing.
designed that way. I mean, we increased for Freaky Deaky, we increased the hops in it, and to kind of mask the back end of that.
So this is another saison.
Yes. This is the chump change.
It's
The
the
same
same-
beer that we had before, just aged in Jack Daniel's barrels.
This
for
is
just
way
about a year.
better than the chump change.
Well, we'll see. This is see if we win a World Cup medal for that one too. We'll see.
Right?
I mean, they're all good, man. And I keep saying it's hard to say one's better than the other. They're all good, but since we're drinking it back to back, it's easy for me to be like, okay, this one's better than the other one.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're talking about my kids. They're all good.
But which one's your favorite?
No, wait. So quick before we
I've
go,
got my favorite of his.
Wait.
I can tell you who it is.
before we go to the next beer, I have a thing about kids. Every parent, if you have multiple kids, you love them all. You're gonna segue. Look at my beautiful face there. You love all your kids. It's not a doubt that you love your kids.
Yeah,
But there's a favorite.
100%.
This is how I heard a comedian say it once, and I believe it 100%. If you have 4 kids, right? If they fall down the stairs, 3 of them, you're going to be like, are you okay? And depending who says what, you're going to walk or run. The first 3, you're going to walk. I'm like, okay, let me just make sure this person's okay. Your favorite falls down the stairs. It's like, are you okay? And you hear it's your favorite, you're running to make sure he or she's okay.
I think that's how my parents were with my two brothers. They were running, chasing them. I don't know. Like, tell me to get up.
You got
fine.
this. You got
You're not
this.
hurt.
Yeah.
Are you bleeding? Get up.
Bleeding exactly.
Oh, I'm so supposed to go that way, Mom.
My roommate didn't believe me. Until now this doesn't make me sound really bad in the story, but it's facts. It's I bother all his kids just to like mess with them, and he doesn't say anything to me when I do it to the three oldest. I mess with them, I irritate them, I bother them, I put them in headlocks. I made the youngest one cry. He's like, why is she crying? What happened? And I was like, all I did was told her that she's annoying.
That's
He's like, why did you say that to her? Like, she's not annoying, she's a baby.
You leave little baby girl out of this. Aw.
Dallas Beer Talk, making children cry since 2017.
You're welcome.
Right. I must say though that I think this is probably my favorite thus far. I really like the whiskey on the nose that you get.
That little tricky smell note thing.
We're gonna try to change that opinion here in a second. We got a few more. We got a
I mean, after the hypocrite, of course.
yeah.
After
We
the
got
hypocrite.
It's okay.
brought a beer that's out right now. You can get it lots of bars and restaurants around town. It's our Bourbon Barrel Vanilla Porter. So we do a vanilla porter that starts October, I think, something or November. I think November.
No, I think it was October.
Okay, so October through
Late October.
We ran it all the way through until we ran out, which was the first week of March, I think. Really nice vanilla porter made with real vanilla, real Madagascar vanilla beans,
vanilla
which is,
beans.
Wow.
which is it's a really cool thing to say, but it's
Very
really-
pricey.
And yeah, we think that using the actual whole vanilla beans, and we crush them up when we put them in there, but it's
$300.
what's that?
$300 a pound.
350.
300. Excuse me. 300. Correction.
I mean,
350.
if anything, any product
True.
you're using to make it something goes up fourfold. I mean, it's insane.
God.
So it's literally double.
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous.
No, that's
So,
insane.
so this beer was aged in Witherspoon, which is right there in Louisville, and Woodford Reserve barrels. So this one will have more of a whiskey flavor, but you get the vanilla porter nose better.
Wow, it smells delicious.
It does smell delicious. I like these glasses, by the way.
Thanks. They're yours.
Oh, wow.
Brought them for you guys.
These were our anniversary glasses from 2000 from last
Oh,
year.
that is delicious.
Wow. Okay. All right. I'm on board with changing my mind.
And then I think you're going to change your mind when we get to this one, which is toward
They just want us to keep saying it gets better and better. This is no lie. Like every single beer we try, these last they're gonna be the fifth one.
1, 2, 3.
Who's counting? I don't
No,
know.
no.
It's been.
I was informed there'd be no math.
Well, every beer is getting better and better. But I'm a big porter and stout fan.
Okay.
Like this style
Oh, yeah.
beers because traditionally they're sweeter.
Right.
But this nice little
The little whiskey,
Bourbon.
the bourbon barrel gives it a little bit more of a punch.
Yeah.
Tightens it up. It makes it a little bit drier.
but the sweetness with it works all together with the vanilla. It's absolutely phenomenal.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
Yeah.
I will say this, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say this. When we started our brewery, we were focused on making our core beers. And the second week we opened, we brewed our Oktoberfest seasonal, and really didn't have an idea of what we wanted to do for a barrel age program. But Derrin basically took over and ran with it, and every beer that he's made through our barrel age program has been phenomenal. So
Yeah.
dude, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's something I'd always wanted to do as homebrewers is to barrel age, and obviously it's tough. I mean, you can actually use wood chips or whatever, but we never did that. Quite honestly, we didn't have many beers that would work well with that, so it was one of those things that right when we opened up, I wanted to start. And actually, Chump Change, the previous one, was the first thing we did.
Really good.
It was that was the first thing we did, barrel aged. Started with 4 barrels, 4 wood barrels, and I think we have 100 barrels roughly.
Wow.
So
Too many.
it goes quick. It's like one of those things that just expands. But yeah, our guys do a great job. I mean, I started it, but our brewers.
It's a team
are the
effort.
ones- Yes, they're the ones that
Well,
really do
yeah,
all
everything
the
we do is
legwork.
everything we do is a team effort.
The
but-
main thing is honestly on any barrel aged beers, you got to start with a good core beer. I mean, if your core beer is not solid, then the barrel age it's just going to get worse. So.
And it's not like the funny thing is people think, oh, you just put some beer in a barrel and you go. No, I mean,
not.
we have one of our assistant brewers, Harper. Every day he's checking barrels, he's stopping leaks, he's making sure the temperature's right. I mean, it's a full-time job just to
Maintain the actual
the
ambient.
barrels,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this last beer I poured, and it's not the last one we have. It's this is the bourbon barrel aged vanilla porter, but with tart cherries added. So you're gonna get some incredible,
Gotta keep
just
digging the fold.
wonderful fruity notes. It really dries it out. Such a great beer.
I like how you have they all listed right behind each other.
I'm
I love it.
anticipating this beer every year. I'm like, yes.
So again,
Tastes
just
So I will tell you, and this goes back to Derrin running the barrel program. My suggestion was raspberries. Let's do the raspberries.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, nope.
I would have said
Tart
snozzberries.
cherries. And
Yeah.
and I, you know what? Tart cherries work. Now we never know what raspberries will taste like. He won't do it, but
Yet.
did a good job with the cherries.
We can do that.
Well, the tart cherries. This is again Ziggy. You have been silent all these beers.
Yeah, I mean they're truly amazing.
Thanks.
Like the vanilla porter, it's brilliant. And the first one that I ended up trying, I believe the chump change, the black saison.
Yeah.
The bourbon barrel, it like adds a coffee aroma almost to it that just gets you ready to go, but then it doesn't have that slight hint of tartness to it. It's just amazing.
I like how you like a little quick side note. You were like, I've been brewing since '91, and he just never touched on it again. Like, been brewing for a little bit.
That's
Yeah.
freshman year in college.
A little bit.
You've been brewing
Freshman
as
year in
long as
college,
I've been
you hear that?
alive.
So while I was pole vaulting, I was making beer in my dorm room in college.
Really?
Yeah, I went to a school in Tennessee that was.
That's why he was never the national champ.
That's right,
guys.
real small.
But he's winning in life because he has his own brewery.
He was 1 pint away.
That's right.
So the beer stores were really far away, and my parents used to bring Shinerbach and sell us up to us in Tennessee, and my dad, you just have to know him, said, I'm not doing this anymore. It's like having 4 extra people in my car. Gas mileage is terrible.
All right,
so I
it's
said,
all
what am I
heavy.
supposed to do? He said, why don't you make beer? I was like, that's a thing? I didn't even know that was a thing. And
See,
they didn't have the internet.
That is a good story because
Yeah.
parents like, just brew your own
Yeah,
beer,
brew your own
please.
beer.
Do it yourself.
18 years old in my dorm room. My dad's
Parents' lessons, right?
Right? Hey.
So this is pre-internet.
Oh, how it's
so I
changed.
I think it was BYO magazine. I filled out a form in the back for I want to say it was either Austin Homebrew or Homebrew headquarters when it was back on Greenville in Dallas instead of up in Richardson. And one day all this equipment showed up, and I brewed a Guinness Stout clone, and it was absolutely terrible.
Of course. That's what I hear most.
I thought he was going to say it was absolutely phenomenal.
He knocked it out of the park. Right?
Borderline undrinkable, but it was gone. We drank 2 cases in 2 hours.
I was gonna say, yeah.
fraternity
It's college.
brothers. It's
It's
free,
college.
it's free beer.
Does it have alcohol?
Yes.
We'll drink
Will we
it.
die if we drink it? No. We're going to drink it.
So then I went back and I was like, oh, there's instructions and books on how to do this. Let me go back and actually read some stuff on how to do this. And Charlie Papazan's book was amazing and got better and better at it. And then got back here to Dallas for law school and met Derrin, and we started brewing together, and the rest is history.
Nice.
Wonderful history.
Yeah, I do have a question. So you guys have been homebrewing for a good long while. What does y'all's private cellars look like? Do you guys have some pretty cool, crazy, rare beers going on? Or?
I don't have a private cellar.
No?
I really don't.
Yeah.
But I do have a good stockpile of brewery cellar.
Yeah.
It's all basically mostly barrel aged beers plus chump change. Freaky Deaky, actually just the regular Freaky Deaky, gets better and better and better.
Every year?
Yeah, every year. And so back when we were still homebrewing, we did it 2 or 3 years where we would either put together a 6-pack or 2 bombers and give them to our friends, like 100 people.
Yeah.
And
That was an
pain in the butt. But first off, getting
They
all
loved
those
it.
bottles
They
because we
loved
wanted to collect them instead of actually buy them. And anyway, so Brad actually had the chance to try. One of the guys just never drank one of the Freaky Deakies. We're talking
From
4 years ago,
Really?
No,
maybe 5.
6 or 7.
Oh, wow.
Crazy.
And
Crazy.
of course, he didn't call me to say, "Come on over."
He's like,
to
"Hey,
Jay's
I
house,"
had
because
this.
Anyway,
He's not
that
sorry.
beer. What we've noticed is like actually we save quality control beers for every one of them. A 6-pack from every single batch that we can. And what we've noticed, I mean, that beer just gets better with age. It really does.
So
It's
when
rounder.
you're telling me I need to buy it and then hold on to it for about 5 years.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Yeah,
And
we're
this
gonna
beer as well. I mean, if you can find this in cans, this beer
There's
is
still
going to
some
sell
places
her.
that have it, yeah.
It's going to sell her
I
as
probably
good
need
as
to
it
find
gets.
it now before it really sells out and I can't get it anywhere else. Because I have something I want to do. I have a mini fridge in my apartment where I keep like a bunch of different styles.
Yeah.
I started doing it this year. I want to keep it for at least 3-4 years.
Yeah.
To answer your question about the cellaring, when we were homebrewing,
Mm-hmm.
whatever we bought to try, we tried. I mean, it wasn't like, oh, I want to reward myself in 3 years. It's like, no, this is awesome. I want to try to make something like this. So
Yeah.
we need to drink it and figure out what's going on here. I just don't cellar beers. I like to drink them.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
fair enough.
It's hard because
You want to drink it? I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
We're at the top of the hour. We got to wrap this up pretty quick.
Nice.
But there's something that we want to talk about on something you're
Yeah,
passionate about.
yeah.
And we talked a little bit off air, but I want you to talk about
Sure.
it now.
So, as you guys know, Texas beer laws are broken. 100% broken. You can. Well, first off, we are the only state in the union that does not allow breweries to sell beer to go. Now, you might say, well, I can walk into Brain Dead or On Rotation or one of the brew pubs and get a growler. That's true. But as a production brewery like us, production brewery like Petacolis, a production brewery like Four Corners or Community, you can't walk in and buy a growler or a 6-pack to go. And we're the only state in the union that doesn't allow that. And like I said to these guys earlier, if you're behind Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, and anything other than football, it's a bad thing. And there's no reason for that law to exist other than a really, really good distributors lobby. The sad thing is we've had some lawsuits against the state of Texas to try to resolve these issues, and they've all come down against us. So the only way that you're going to be able to get beer from a production brewery like ourselves is if the legislature passes a law that changes that. So what we as the Craft Brewing Guild have done this year to try to affect that change in the next legislative session, which starts in January of next year, is create the Craft Pack. The TexasCraftPack.org. You can go on. I encourage you to donate, even if it's $5. That money goes directly to lobbying our legislature to improve the beer laws that directly impact the craft brewing industry. The funny thing about it is the other interests, the lobbyists for the distributors and the retailers, have so much more money than the craft brewers do, even though we're on the right side of the law. You can walk into a winery, drink a glass of wine on premises, and buy 2 cases and take it home with you.
Oh, yeah.
You can walk into a distillery, drink whiskey on premises, and take 2 750 bottles home with you. You can't walk into a brewery, drink a pint, and then take that home with you. We are losing money from beer tourism. We're losing money from revenue. It is absolutely silly that it is this way, and it's the only reason it's that way is because the distributors don't want us to do that because they think it's going to take money away from them. When in actuality, it will help us all grow our business, which will help them in the long run. So the only thing we can do at this point is to reach out to your independent legislature, and if you're not comfortable doing that, then please consider just giving to the Craft Pack, even if it's $5. Every little bit helps. Also, what I would encourage you to do is to go online to the Texas Brewers Guild website. There's a couple petitions that you can sign now that says, hey, I support beer to go, and I support this issue and that issue. You're not committing to anything other than to say, I, as a resident of the state of Texas, support this issue. That will help us next year when we go to lobby to tell people, to tell those legislators, look, this is the grassroots that we have. The funny thing about last session, we had some laws that were passed against us. We were able to get almost 10,000 signatures in about 36 hours in support of our issue. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of people signing and saying, hey, we agree with you. So the more we can do that now on the front end, we will be more armed to go into the legislative session saying, this is a ridiculous state of the law. Texas should not be last. We're 46th. We rank 46th in the nation in terms of breweries per capita. we're the second largest state by population, I believe.
Third, I think.
Second or third. We're behind
Regardless.
California, maybe New York, but and we're 46th per capita. The reason is beer laws. The reason is the laws as they exist on the books, not Texas-wide, but also locally as well. So anything that you guys can do to help us out by going to the craft pack and donating some money, or at least just signing the petitions, that will help us get you the ability to come into our brewery and get some of these brewery-only beers or draft-only beers in a growler to take home.
Some of these phenomenal beers, a bunch of great beers we had here today. You won't be able to buy anywhere else unless you go to the brewery, and you can't take that home with you.
Yep.
So do what you can. Go to craftpack.org, donate, sign your petitions where you can. As well, check out oakhighlandsbrewery.com. Find them on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Oh, absolutely.
Twitter as well. Check them out. Phenomenal brewery if you're here in the state of Texas, especially in the Dallas region. Go check them out. A family-friendly place.
Yeah.
Bring your dogs. Bring your parrots.
Boa constrictors, everything.
You also follow us, DallasBeerTalk.com, all social media sites as well. Ziggy will be at the Backdoor Comic Club this weekend as well as tonight. Check him out if you're in the Dallas area as well. One of the funniest comedians here in Texas. Love you guys. Have a safe weekend. Be careful.
Prost.